How's it going, guys? Welcome to another episode of Staying Connected, where we explore the depths of self, the people around us, and our environment. We hope to uncover any life lessons through our experiences, reflect on meaningful relationships built along the way, and to ultimately learn about one another through open and honest conversations. How's it going, guys? I'm Kenny.
And I am Scott. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So last episode, we talked about bad advice in the industry. So this episode, we're going to flip it and go good advice in the industry. So why don't you start us off, Kenny, some good advice that industry veterans have given you as you're going through the ranks.
All right. Well, first off, I am in the communication business, specifically in media, advertising, sales, marketing, all of that stuff, that fun stuff. There's different key points that I do want to highlight today on some good advice if you're considering going into the communication industry, or just, yeah, communication is just, it's everywhere, whatever industry you're in, but specifically being in marketing, media, all of that, there's, yeah, kind of more specific points that you want to keep in mind when jumping into that field. So first off, the first point would be over communicating is key. It's never too bad to over communicate everything. And with technology, that gives us the ability to, keep track of, just our communication with whomever, whether it's clients, whether it's people you interview. So working in marketing and media specifically, it gives us a chance to keep this record of our conversation with anybody we talk to, and to kind of have that record and understanding of our meetings, and just kind of build from there. And it gives you a record of just, say, like, for clients specifically, if they want something and they email you saying, I want this, then you can kind of refer back to what they said later on if they say, oh, I didn't say that.
You mentioned a little of you can't over communicate, and I've heard a lot of contrasting thoughts about that. But can you explain more about, like, you can't over communicate? Because well, I'll play devil's advocate, because sometimes you can give someone so much information. Let's say, like, I'm a client, and I give you so much information that it makes you have to, okay, hey, I have to filter out some of the information given to me. So can you go into more, like, okay, go into that more of the over communicating part? Because from what I've heard so far, my side, I would they would disagree from the people that told me.
Yeah. So when you're working with clients specifically, say, for example, like design wise, a lot of graphic designers deal with these requests that are kind of like overboard sometimes. So it does become, it's over communicating all of these ideas from the client. So from there, you're able to kind of get a picture of what the client might want, and then kind of tailor it into something that you feel would work for the client, and the client would kind of be satisfied. So first off, over communicating is okay and pretty key, rather than having no direction at all. And so from there, you and the client work together to kind of over communicate and kind of just, decrease or eliminate what is unnecessary in that whole communication record you have between you and them. Finding the essentials.
So it's kind of like having a puzzle, and you have more pieces than necessary. So that way, even if you have more pieces, you can still have the complete picture, the complete puzzle, rather than missing a few puzzles and not completing the puzzle itself. Okay.
Yep. And yeah, for graphic designers, that's one example. For like news stories as well. I mean, you definitely want to have all of like a lot of information for you to kind of write up the story as well. So it's better to have um, more than enough and then cut down rather than to have not enough, then yeah, just be questionable about what to write and all that. So
Mm, that,
uh, that's
that's
yeah.
interesting because I think that might be one of the few industries where having too much information is actually good. Because
Mm-hmm.
in the fitness wellness industry,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes let's say you're exercising with a client and you're
Mm-hmm.
giving them cues, right? So let's say we're
Yeah.
doing a SWAT or whatever, and you give them too many cues. Hey, bend your knees, feet apart, breathe, tighten the
Mm-hmm.
belly, keep your chest up, tall posture. Like you know how
Yeah.
too much of that can like,
Yeah.
oh my god, like can discombobulate them and really confuse them,
Yeah.
rather than giving them a few simple cues. So do
Mm-hmm.
you think your industry is kind of unique in the fact that you need more of that versus like every other
Yeah.
industry where simple is better?
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I just got an idea of like, your whole situation with these tips, just like, squat and then make your chest wider, all of that. It it kind of relates to some sort of micromanaging, which is, kind of
Mm,
like a negative term that we'll
right.
try to stay away from. But at the same time, it does give some sort of direction for anybody you're communicating with. Um, yeah. So I feel like, yeah, in this particular industry, the communication media industry, yeah, over communicating has its advantages into, yeah, gaining better understanding of your client, um, that news story, or yeah, just your partnership with whomever you
Hmm.
develop with.
I just feel
So
like that's just a lot more work for you guys, but that's just the
mhm,
nature of work for your
yeah,
industry. Yeah.
yeah, and of course, along with over communicating, I guess another point is asking questions is super important. I mean, it's anywhere you go in life, asking questions, no matter what, will help you better understand anything. And yeah, it just ties in with the whole communication process that we all deal with every single day. We got to find a way to understand each other somehow, and asking
Hmm.
questions is key.
So do
How
you
about for you?
believe there are like stupid questions?
Oh yeah, there's like there's never a stupid question. It's like, what, because I mean, I'm not familiar with a lot of stuff where everybody has their own set of knowledge, and it's better to ask that question than to just not know, not understand, um, just anything pretty much. So yeah, I don't believe in stupid questions. It's just um, your effort into understanding something.
It's more of a clarifying question. It's
Yeah.
like just in case you're like on the fence about it,
Mm-hmm.
you ask your boss, hey, I just want to make sure that this is
Mm-hmm.
exactly what you want, or you tell your
Yeah.
client, is this what you want right here, these things, before I go ahead and
Yeah.
publish it, before I make that project or I do whatever, is
Yeah.
this what you want? So, and I think this takes me back to
Mm-hmm.
like school too, when in math class, you know, I would be this one kid to be like, oh, what's the derivative, and like what is that, and like all the other kids are like, oh, you should have known that last semester. It's like they didn't teach me that, and I'm behind, and I want to get an
Yeah.
A in this class. And
Yeah.
funny enough, it's like there are other kids that like came up to me after class, is like, hey man, thanks for asking that, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to seem like the stupid one, because everybody seemed like they were um they were on it already. They already knew
Yeah.
what's going on. But the funny thing about that is that the kids that already knew what's going on, they took
Mm-hmm.
summer classes. They
Mm-hmm.
had tutors, and no, not everyone is fortunate enough to have, to be able to afford summer classes or tutors. So in a way, when people judge themselves based on what other people can do instead of what they need to understand and do, it's like it's almost like you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. It's like,
Yeah.
who cares? Who cares if you feel dumb or stupid for that single moment? Once you understand something, it's time to learn and move on, because learning is probably the most important thing. Who cares what people think
Yeah.
about you?
And I think, yeah, knowing versus understanding, a little different than each other. I mean, you can know how to ride a bike, but you understand just, like understand why
The
it's
mechanics of
important
the
and
bike, like, yeah, the
yeah, everything.
pedals and
Yeah,
the
all of
gears.
that stuff. So, yeah, putting those two words together and comparing them, pretty interesting.
I hate comparing school and then life, but no, I
Oh,
think
yeah,
that's
tell me
that's
about
that's a
it.
metaphor. The school is all about knowing instead of like
Yeah, that's how
understanding.
it is like that. I'm not into math, and
Right?
what is it?
Me neither.
I was like going to class trying to know like all these equations, how to solve them, but understanding
Hmm.
it wasn't um, kind of my interest into learning more about it. How about for you? Like whether it's whatever subject it was.
Hmm. I'll
Um,
take math too. I think what I should have done is, no, math is all about like the results, right? What's the answer? But I
mhm,
think looking back now, I should have fell in love with the process of like,
mhm,
okay, how do I get there?
yeah.
Like a problem looks unfamiliar. Then I need to like break it down and then make it look similar to that problem that I just solved earlier. How do I
Mhm.
make this unfamiliar, complex problem? How do I make it similar to that one I just solved? So that way your brain can start thinking about, okay, let's break it down. What do you know so far? And then let's
There is a
build it back
formula.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's always a
So
formula to everything.
I wish they could have like, taught me that better. But of course, I need to take responsibility for my own learning. But it'll be cool. Teach kids, the end result is cool and everything, but the process is what matters. And that
Mhm.
leaks into different aspects of your life, right? And the
Yeah,
process is so important, you know?
and now that we're out of school, we're jumping right into our industries and learning and trying to understand everything that's involved with coming or working in that industry.
Yeah. It's like I see someone that's really successful. Like I don't get
Mm,
envy, I don't get jealous. It's
yeah,
like, oh, how did you? I ask those stupid questions like, how did you do it? Uh, what made you want to do this? What was your thought process when you're trying to shift into this? Let me learn. Let me learn your process. Like it might not be that I could copy whatever he or she did, and I probably can't. But I want to see how their brain works, and if I can just take some concepts or some principles that has made them successful and absorb it for myself, I think that's more important than like asking stupid questions, looking dumb,
yeah.
learning the process.
Mm. So, what kind of inspired you into jumping to your industry? I mean, we're
Mm.
talking about like good advice and all of that. Is there any sort of advice that inspired you to jump into the
Hmm.
wellness
Yeah.
industry?
So I think back when I was working in the office HR business management field,
Yeah,
there was this one guy that we would always like work out. We talk about like lifting and everything because
yeah,
that's what we're like in the HR field. There's
mm,
only so many guys, and then we kind of like just like bond. Hey, do you lift? What do you do in your free time? Oh, I work out. Oh, what do you do? So
yeah.
one day I was just talking to him and I was like, hey, I'm considering doing this. And I don't know if you remember that story about like me crying in the office. That was like
Yeah,
1 or 2 jobs ago, but then I didn't listen to his advice and I paid dearly for it, crying in the office with the rain pouring. Um, it was like, find you an occupation or industry where you don't mind, like after work, you come home and you do more research and you're happy doing that. You want to do that. So after I got fired from that job I talked to you about,
yeah,
I forgot which episode it was. I want to say it's the failure episode.
mhm,
Anyways,
yeah,
um, no, I took a look deep within myself. It's like, what don't I mind doing after work? Like keep learning, and I like um, mixed martial arts. I like
mhm,
wellness. I like working out. I like nutrition. I like finances.
Yeah.
And I chose wellness and like exercise science, and because that was fun to me. I don't mind doing that for like hours on end.
Mhm.
So, I just started. At first, it was hard, but I enjoyed every single moment. Like, you learn something about human body. You learn the way it reacts back and forth. You learn about the proteins and how your body just,
Yeah.
it's magic. Your body is magic. The way it's working, the gears that it's moving in order for you to stay alive and for you to like move. It's just so awesome. And, you know, and I encourage people to do that. Like, if you like what
Mm.
you're doing and you don't mind doing research about it, I think that's something you should pursue, because the more you do research, the more you look into it, the more you enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
for me, it was hard to keep looking at HR documents, and it was hard
Oh
to
yeah.
keep looking at people's resumes. I didn't enjoy doing
I know.
that. So
I can't imagine how that is. It's.
some people enjoy it, and God bless them, and they're so good at it.
Hmm.
But I don't see myself doing that. But the more you do something, the better you get at it. And the more I studied, the more I did research, the more I worked out the gym, applied the same
Hmm.
principles, I saw results. It was crazy.
Yeah, and
So I can.
it's amazing to hear how you incorporate your, I guess, your daily lifestyle into, let's reverse it actually, incorporate your career into your daily lifestyle, vice versa, and all of that. So it's something you love to do, and you
Mm-hmm,
continue to do that every day and try to help others too.
mm-hmm. And
Or
it's not even work. It's not
yeah.
even work. It's like they're paying me to do
Mhm.
what I like. They're not, granted, they're not paying me enough, but but
Pay him more.
no, it's crazy. Like, sometimes I sit down, like, man, they're paying me to do something that I want. They're giving me money so
Mhm.
I can buy resources to do things that I like. They're giving me opportunities to go to these free events,
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
learn from mentors, and like read and do these exercises for free. My goodness, like,
Yeah.
I'm lucky. But you know like, going back to doing going to an industry that you like, sometimes it's hard, because
Mhm.
it might not pay the best, and you might need to support your family, support your kids and whatnot. But
Mhm.
um you know maybe do it on the side, is the what one that guy recommended to me. Stick with your HR job, and then find a little side job that you can keep pursuing. Like, for
Mhm.
example, where he recommended, I keep my HR job
Yeah.
after hours, like, work at a gym, and start building clientele, building
Yeah.
rapport, building your experience, building your workout library and everything. Just expand your experience and your knowledge. And
Yeah.
then once you have enough clientele, switch over full time. So if you can make just as much money or more with your
Mhm.
side gig, why not just switch over and make double your money? So focus
Oh.
more your energy on the thing that makes you happy. And if it makes you just as much money, why not switch over?
Ah. So do we see some your own business happening in the future later on?
No, I love opening. I would love opening my own gym, but the only thing is, like, I kind of have to be there all the damn time.
Mhm.
But it would be fun, like,
Yeah.
your cafe, my gym,
Yeah.
back and forth.
Right there. Gotta sign up for that membership.
There
You
we
heard it
go.
here. Beginning. Planting the
Twenty
seed.
percent off. 20% off if you're a member at Kenny's
20% off
Subscription.
if yeah.
Be interesting. A subscription cafe. Like, if you're a member, you get 25% off on, like,
Yeah,
special days. No, I don't
that would
think
be
there is a subscription, like, member base. Hey, are you a part of Kenny's Coffee?
yeah. That's,
But
it's
I
a
don't
good
think
partnership. There we go.
I think that might be the first. If you do, it's
Mhm.
like, let me know. That'd be interesting. Like,
Yeah.
being a member exclusive, like, you're like, I'm just going hypothetically now, and we're kind of going off track. But
Yeah.
like, if you're a member, you get exclusive taste testing, private dining.
Mhm.
You always get, like, reservations. You always get updates and newsletters on things.
And
Invite a
then
friend, you get 20% off. Oh, goodness, the possibilities.
but first subscribe to Staying Connected. could give you.
Stay connected. Steal our idea or something connected. But
Awesome.
any other good advice that people have told you and it
Yeah.
worked?
I mean, I guess key points are just to, you know, over communicate and ask questions. You just want to be able to understand your client, what's happening around you, and yeah, just don't be afraid to ask any question. Yeah, there's no stupid questions. Just
Mm.
think of that.
Okay, I think I have one.
Well, unless you ask the same question constantly, then
Yeah,
it
that's
brings
a,
up
yeah.
yeah, it brings up the question like, do you even understand what?
I I think there are no stupid questions,
Yeah.
but there are stupid people out there. I say that in the nicest way because like if the answer to that question was already given,
Mm,
you're just being stupid. But you're making yourself be really
yeah,
stupid by asking that same question again,
yeah,
over and over again. So
yeah,
you deserve it if you ask
yeah.
the same question as me. So
Keep that in
no,
mind, you guys.
no
Try
stupid
to
questions. Just how about stupid behavior?
repetitive, stupid behavior.
Yes, behavior. I agree. But my one more thing I would like to add for really good advice in the beginning when you're first starting into your industry is uh, be very selective with the information that you're learning because when you first start off, right? Oh, it's an ocean. You know, you're in your little canoe and you're like trying to go places, and that's just a metaphor. But like, there's so much information on the internet. Like, where do you start? There are like influencers, that say these certain things. There are sources where you have to pay for it, and it's like cited and peer
Yeah,
reviewed by like world class scientists and researchers. And then there's like books, and who do you trust and who do you believe? And
I know it's
you know,
crazy.
the more experience you get, and you gotta. It's so tough when you're first starting out, and to be selective about the information you're given. But um, what I have been told is like, you know what? If there are so many things, take it, experiment with it. If it works, sure, absorb it, and then even though you absorb it, test it again. If it lasts through the trials, it's
Then
pretty
you,
damn good. So for example, I'm going back to the let's take a communication leadership example. Okay. So one of the key leadership things that I've tried to implement is giving people um, giving people trust, giving people leadership duties in order to build trust within the group, trust within me and that individual, and getting them to step up. At first, I'm like, oh, that's so weird. It's like I gotta put someone that doesn't have any experience in this like pivotal position and let them run it, give them full reign, let them plan everything. And at first, I tried it with a couple friends.
how did
Um,
that work out?
oh, I have my doubts, but then like we are planning a camping trip, right? And usually, I plan it. I like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. But instead, I kind of like, hey, uh, John, you take care of this. Hey, Christine, you take care of this. Hey, Timmy, you take care of this. Because I know, because I strategically place it like that because I knew that's what they wanted to do.
Mhm.
Like Christine is very, these are made up names, of course, but Christine is very detail oriented, so I'll let her take care of like the reservations and all the logistics and everything. Um, John here likes to do sports and whatever. You know what? You can take care of all the activities and whatever. And Timmy likes to
Yeah.
cook, so I'm not gonna make Timmy do sports when he likes to cook. So you take care of our meals. Here's the money.
Mhm.
Here's whatever. If you guys need anything, let me know. And it turned out a really really fun trip. It's like people took ownership. They're like, hey, like usually you plan everything, but thanks for letting me do that. That was actually really really fun, and I want to do that again. So now they're taking ownership. And then
Mhm.
you give them a chance to plan and lead, and because when you tell some, and I think I said this many many times in the podcast, you tell somebody something, yeah, they'll follow it. But if you let them lead it, you let them plan everything, they're gonna follow it throughout. They're gonna like make sure it gets done because that's their plan. You know, that's their plan, and they're gonna make sure they're gonna have accountability. Because if that plan fails, they can't blame me. You know, that's their plan.
Yeah.
That's it's all on them. So they're gonna do whatever it takes for that plan to work. And it was crazy. And then, you know, it worked on my friends, and let's try on my coworkers. You know, here you take this. You know, so
Yeah.
because I wanna see you rise up this leadership ladder. I want to have you do more responsibilities because I trust you. I want you to learn new skills, new abilities, and then like they did it. It's like, oh, this really works. So this was just one of the things, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're all gonna work in groups every now and then, and yeah, to gain that ownership of whatever task you're given, you know, putting as 110% effort into it as much as you can. So
Mm.
yeah, we gotta
Oh,
set up that camping trip. Sounds fun.
for
Sounded
that's
fun and organized.
yeah. Let's give people roles. Hey, you take care of this, and
Yeah,
we'll see if it works. You know, if our friends don't
yeah.
watch this episode, we're gonna try this on them.
And I think yeah, utilizing everybody's strengths, yeah, is pretty important, and it'll make things a lot easier, hopefully, to yeah come up
I
with
do want to
good
say
results.
with a caveat is that sometimes it doesn't work that perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
I was just very lucky that the people that I assigned these things for, they were just already good. They just needed someone to give them a little push and
Yeah.
elevate them and give them an opportunity to lead and flex their leadership, flex their
Mm-hmm.
ability. So it's not going to work with everyone. You know, when you become a manager and once you become like higher level, it's all about selecting the right people to do the right things, right? You can't have like the wrong people do the right thing. It's gonna be the wrong choice every single time. So I just want to flip it back to you, Kenny. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when you first started off, of course, there's so much to learn. Like, how did you siphon out what's the right things to do? You know,
Oh my
like who's the
God.
right people to talk to? You know, walk us
Mm-hmm.
through that.
Yeah. Yeah, for somebody like myself jumping into specifically the news industry with no experience at all. Yeah, there was a lot to learn starting off with just the whole all of the departments and how they work together. So I mean, you got sales, you got news, you got marketing, all of that. I had to visit each department, kind of understand what each one does, and then for me, starting off in sales, um, I had to communicate with all of the departments because we all work together. We try to put out programming and graphics need to be done, commercials need to be shot, and video segments need to be posted online. And for me, I guess my strengths and my skills were anything with like website maintenance, graphic design, all of that. And in addition to like my writing skills, I had to utilize all of that into yeah my position as a well success manager. That's the official title,
Hmm.
and try to be that messenger slash I guess manager of all of the departments, and then try to make sure everybody was on top of their schedule and making sure that we hit our deadline, and of course have good quality as much as we can, um, and make sure that um, yeah everybody's benefiting from it, not just us but like whether it's clients or just viewers, all of that. So yeah, it is it's a whole tree of different departments that I really had to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for and yeah, anybody going into an industry that you haven't experienced before, it is going to be like that. You're going to have to learn each department. I mean, starting off with like HR, you know, they handle a lot of stuff as well. Um, and yeah, so whether it's the medical field, knowing the different branches or departments. Um, yeah, all of that stuff. It is pretty important to, just kind of have an idea of what each department does.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me a lot. And just asking questions to all the managers and understanding how the news station works.
Mm-hmm.
I had no
Seems
idea.
like once you do enter an industry that you don't know a lot, it seems like it takes a lot of humility, you
It
know,
does.
because then sometimes you step in and you're like, oh my god, this is overwhelming. But it
Mm-hmm.
takes that humility to like, you know what, I'm not here to, even though you're a manager, you're not here to tell people what to do. It's like, hey, I just want to learn like how you guys operate. Can you like show me, walk me through this? Because I want to make sure as a team or as successful as possible. I'm just here to help you guys be
Mm-hmm.
successful, right? I want to give you guys the resources, the tools, whatever you need to become successful. Um, Seems like a lot of that. Seems like a lot of clarification. Um, you know, even though there's a lot of content to consume, at the end of it all, it seems like shoot, you just gotta put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be so there's gonna be so much information, but you just gotta put in the work.
Yeah.
Did you have like a system, that you implemented for yourself to help retain all the information, or it just took
Yeah.
time?
I mean, organizing all of my emails, all of that stuff, setting calendar reminders is key. Making notes, whether it's on post-it notes and all of that, and yeah, just um, over communicating pretty much because
Hmm.
you want to keep that record of your communication between you and so, just so you can kind of refer back. Let's say like a year from now, it could be to that point where you need to refer 1 year back, and yeah, kind of just you know let let whoever you're talking to is saying, oh,
Hmm.
this is what you said back then.
You know what's interesting is like when you say communicating, everyone's like, "Oh my god, up in arms." But imagine
Yeah.
if you're a new guy, and then you're just telling somebody, "Hey, I just want to make sure I get this right." So I just want to let you know I'm gonna ask a lot of questions. I'm gonna try to make sure we're both on the same page. And how does
Yep.
that make the other person feel? Oh man, this guy really, takes his job
Yeah.
seriously. Like he wants to make sure he gets things right. So if that means him and me over communicating a lot to just set the base of
Mm-hmm.
everything, make sure our base is good, make sure um, like we're both on the same page and we're both ready to go. I'm okay with that. Like if I was your
Yeah.
coworker and you came to me asking a lot of questions, that shows me that you care,
Yeah.
that you give a damn and that you want to make this successful. And there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that. Now, conversely, contrast to contrast is like,
Mm-hmm.
what if you're like a couple years in, and you're still over communicating with that person? Would you consider it a bad thing, or
It
you still need to do
is.
that?
In the past, have had to deal with that. You know, it's like after 1 year, or yeah, because I've been in my industry for close to 3 years now. I mean, it's not as long as like all the other veterans out there, but yeah, I think we it reflecting back on that situation where if somebody keeps on asking the same question over and over again,
Sure.
it makes me question like, what did
Did they even listen?
yeah yeah, like, did you even listen to me? So at first when somebody's starting off new and fresh, asking as many questions as they can, I am open to answering all of that because at one point I was in their position asking a bazillion questions, and yeah, so it's some sort of empathy that I deal with. But at some point you really have to um, understand and kind of just immerse yourself in with all of that information and just try your best to remember. Um, but yeah, in the past I've dealt with people that would constantly ask the same questions, and it was overwhelming. I mean, yeah, it was frustrating. And yeah, anybody might relate to this as well. So we're gonna deal with these kinds of people. But to solve all of that, it's just you know you really have to tell the person to
Mm.
you know
You got to do your due diligence because that's
yeah.
part of being a professional. Like
Mm-hmm.
you've gotten the information, soak in, absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure. One thing I've tried to use is like when someone tells me like information, I would kind of like repeat it back to them. So what you want from me is to do this, this. So just to clarify, this is what you're saying. This is what you're telling me. Based on the concept that you just talked about, here's what I got. Here's what I'm at. And then like whatever I don't have, okay. Oh, you forgot this. You
Mm-hmm.
forgot that. Okay, cool. But at least like I'm giving them the sense. Okay, I understand. Okay, this guy understands. Instead
Yeah.
of just like nodding your head and then like a day or
That's
two later, hey
that's the
Kenny,
thing.
just wanna.
When they nod their head, I was like that too. I was just like pretending. At first, I was pretending that I kind of knew it. I was like, "Oh yeah, I understand." Yeah, and then later on, I'm like, "Can you show me this again and
Yeah.
again?"
Hmm.
So yeah, we're all gonna deal with all of that stuff later on. But yeah, it's good to just sink in all of the information and try your best to remember it. Make a note anywhere you go.
Just a quick story. Long time ago, we had this one coworker named Bob, right? And then like just like it, like the only thing he would do when managers would tell him things, like he would just nod his head, and then the managers would be like, do you understand what I'm saying? He'll just nod his head, right? And then his nickname was like Bobble. It's just Bob.
Bubble.
Don't be don't,
Oh,
don't be like Bob. Like reiterate what they're saying.
yeah, Bobby guys.
Awesome. So yeah, this was great. We'll definitely need to go back and there's so much more advice that I've been given. I'm sure you too. But let's
Yep.
go ahead and jump into our recommendation of the
Recommendations.
Recca.
Okay.
What you got for us, sir?
All right. So, um, for me, I don't buy clothes as often. I have like literally what 10 shirts in my closet. Um, I gotta give some away too. But I recently bought a shirt that I'm wearing right now that
Mm.
kind of really inspired me. Yeah, for the past, I've had the shirt for like what 2 weeks now, and every time I put it on, I read it, and I'm like very inspired and motivated to just make my day great. So here we go. It's
Every
my
day
day
better.
better. So I got this shirt from a locally owned company. They're actually related to, well, the company is called Everyday Better Hawaii.
Mm.
They're related to, it's a lifestyle fitness company that, just goes out and just shares aloha, sends motivation. And they're also related to like Flex Fitness. It's a new gym in uh, what is it, Kalihi area. Um, so the guy that manages this Everyday Better group, he started this T-shirt design that I've been seeing pop up every day on my social feed, and I was like looking at it and I felt very inspired to get some because people would post their before and after photos
Mm-hmm.
and they would tell their life story, all of that. So I kind of got inspired um, and eventually bought this shirt to just remind myself that every day just make it better than yesterday. So
Should tag the owner in this podcast.
oh yeah, such a cool
Sponsor.
guy too. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, so I mean, it's a really nice shirt, very simple, and this is not a sponsorship. Just FYI, this is just personal gratitude for this product that they're sharing, and it's also holiday season, so you might want to get your friend or whomever a shirt of motivation. And this is it right here. Locally owned. Great way to support local as well.
You know what we need? We need some staying connected shirts.
We
Like some
do.
dry fit, staying connected. Oh, I would rock that.
Oh man. Okay, that is in the works.
No worries.
We will post some more information later on as we get there.
Very nice.
How about for you?
Okay. Okay. My recommendation of the week is I have been. I wrote it on my phone. Okay. So every so often, I I add new podcast shows to my playlist, you know, because I love podcasts. Every time I walk, I drive to work, like if I can fit in podcast time and learn, my goodness, that's one of probably the best day. Um, okay, so a new podcast that I've really, really enjoyed so far is it's called Cautionary Tales by Pushkin Industries. Push is like push and KIN
Oh.
Industries. It's basically, you know, lots of valuable lessons from like history, like human error and like tragic catastrophes that you can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
One of the episodes I listened to was there was this one. I think it was during one of the award shows. You know, I think a couple years back where they read the wrong title. I think they said no, remember La La Land. I think the person said that and it wasn't the right category, so it was like a
Oh.
giant goof, right?
Oh
Basically,
man.
they had this weird system that they implemented that was like they made things really really complicated,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just a valuable life lesson because sometimes we make things so complicated. Like we have this thing, and then like if that doesn't work, we have this thing, and if that
No.
doesn't work, here's a third backup. So
Yeah.
we were just making things so complicated for
It
each other.
seems complicated. Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes the best answer is the simplest solution. You know, Occam's razor. Like, you know, if you wanna sleep better, turn off all the friggin' lights. You know, you don't have to like use the sleep app. You don't have to like drink
Mm-hmm.
a certain thing. You don't have to take this. So maybe just turn off all the lights. Make sure it's pitch black. Don't have your
Yeah.
phone. Don't go on social media. Keep it real simple. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's so many different episodes that I'm gonna keep watching, and you know you learn so much from it. Just from history itself. You know, learn
Oh.
from the people that have made the mistakes.
Thanks again, guys, for tuning in to another episode of Staying Connected. We're super grateful for you guys for tuning in every week and listening to a lot of the content that we're sharing. And we hope that we can inspire you to make every day better, not just from the shirt, but yeah, just whatever we share. And yeah, if you have any comments, please share in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe. We are also on social media. Follow us. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, even Spotify. So you can listen to us on the go while you're stuck in traffic. Um, and yeah, continue to tune in every week. And yeah, thank you.
Have a good day.